All right, good morning. Happy Saturday. Let's see. It looks like I have got sound into OBS. Let's check on the streams here. This is behind. It's not actually show. Yeah, there we go. Switch over. This one. The OBS. All right, and we're off. Welcome. Good morning. My name is Tim. For anybody that might be new, I go by FoamyGuy on GitHub and Discord. We're working on some CircuitPython stuff again this morning. If you're brand new and you don't know what I'm talking about, or you're catching this in the future and don't know what I'm talking about, the main website for this project is circuitpython.org, so you can head there to learn more. You can also join the Discord, which is shown down below on the screen still. In the live broadcast chat channel on that Discord is where you can ask questions or interact during the live streams, but there are also channels for CircuitPython and getting help with CircuitPython, as well as a host of other electronics programming maker related topics. So if you're interested in any of those things, join us over there. CircuitPython, for those that don't know, it's a version of Python that runs on tiny computers called microcontrollers. In particular, the one that I have today is not actually listed here yet, interestingly. So we'll have to find a way to get creative on a build. We may need to maybe build it from main or something. We can find this device over here, though. One I have today, though, is Matrix Portal S3, which is relatively new. It's a little Wi-Fi enabled device that can hook into these LED matrices, these RGB matrices here. So you can use that kind of like pretty much like a display. Same thing you would do with an LCD or something like that, effectively. That's the kind of device we're messing with, but generally speaking, CircuitPython comes in all different shapes and sizes. There's loads and loads of different ones of these little microcontroller devices. They all have different capabilities and built-in features and things. So a whole range of sizes and all sorts of different things to choose from, depending on the project that you're interested in. Generally speaking, these basically just let you connect to other electronic components and interact with them. Take readings from sensors, turn on lights, play sounds, beepers, buzzers, knobs, switches, buttons, screens, touch screens, any kind of really electronic widget you could imagine. For the most part, you can hook up with these microcontrollers, and then if you're using CircuitPython, you can control that with some Python code that shows up on these devices when you plug it into your computer. So that is kind of like the super duper high level version of what's going on here. In particular, like I said, I'll be jumping into the Matrix Portal, and honestly, the first thing we need to do is get it opened up and hooked up and turned on, and probably install CircuitPython. Guessing it comes with a Arduino based sample code, I would presume, or demo code, I think they call it sometimes. Let's see, we're gonna crash once. Yep, there we go. Restart. Always good when you have like an expected crash in your workflow. You're like, oh yeah, this thing is just gonna crash the first time we use it. Okay, it's done. Now we're good. So we'll probably need to back it off some, won't we, for the camera? So this is actually kind of a larger thing, isn't it? So here. How's it going, Choni? So I have the Matrix hooked up to the original Matrix Portal here. Matrix Portal that was a SAMD 51. And so we need to unhook that, and we need to get the new one out, get it plugged in place. Which I did, I think, loosen these a little bit. Add more though would be. Not quite. And I'm just gonna leave this because we're gonna need to plug those in anyway. Unplug this bit. I've ever done actually. The first time since I hooked it up that this matrix portal has been without its matrix. I'm gonna retighten these screws up a bit so we don't lose them. Us a bit more this way still. Okay, new one. Here. Box. Bubble wrap. I did unwrap the bubble wrap. I've not actually done anything with it. Definitely. I think our two screws are actually, yeah, they're floating in here. Let me get those out. Oh. Here for now. Have a Trinity board, ESP32 based version of what you're playing with. Nice. For the matrices, I haven't heard of that one. Trinity. Nice. Oh. Is there a picture of the back here? Display. Use bypass. Oh. Probably made in China. This is gonna look cool. Yeah, I haven't seen that one before. Trinity. We have this on the back, and then we need to little. So it comes with these. I don't know, Kapton tape or something. Little amber stickers on the top of these screw holes. I'm gonna find something I can poke through from the back. I'll be back in a minute or two here. How's it going, C. Grover? Good morning. Might be time for me to finally get CircuitPython running on you. A friend of mine in Ireland designed that one and sold it on Tendy, but closed the store, so it's only available in China now. Okay, I'll be back in just Popped it through from the back. Seemed to be the easiest way. I used a little bit of wire or heat shrink of screw terminals that no longer have kept on tape. So we're going to be going down like this, but before I get it plugged in, I'm going to put the screws, which I'll try to do here like this, but no promises. I may need to pull it a bit closer. Get it screwed right down almost all the way. They need too much room there in order to fit the I don't know, whatever that's called, little screw terminal fork thingy. This side's a bit worse because of the I guess, is that an extra power plug? Oh, A0. Little 3-pin JST. What do they call those ones? It's is it SVC? Is it signal SVG? Signal voltage ground? Okay. Not quite focused that far up, but the screws are on. We can plug this in here. Let's see here. Okay. It's connected. Ground. It's top 5. It says 5 volts. It's there. Nothing is connected to power yet, but tighten that down. Okay. They're nice and snug. I think I need to move the USB plug. I need to not use the plug that's on the hub, so let me plug that in case here. There's one already plugged in. So I guess we'll probably have to turn the light back off. I mean, we wouldn't necessarily have to, but let's see what it... Basically, more or less the same. I guess you could see the pixels that aren't on a little bit better with the flashlight. But okay, and then this did not come up as CircuitPy. Is that right? I think this is no CircuitPy or anything here. So I think this is probably a. Oops, this is probably a Arduino-based example. Cutting edge here. I think it's not quite. So did. Did it not come? Oh, is it one word, 2 words? Did I get? This one's matrix space portal M4, but the other one is no space. That's interesting. Huh. This one is, it works both ways, but that one doesn't. I don't know if we have, do we have, hopefully bootloaders? So maybe like, up, down. We were going to be looking for double tap. Nope. Let's turn it over and see if we can see the LED. During purple? Huh. Maybe we don't have double tap on that? Have that. So what I don't know though is have that already or not. Update UF2. What does that mean? guide specific to this one. Matrix. See what else to look in the. This. There's anything in here maybe about how to get it loaded. Is it a boot button? Did I miss the boot button? Maybe there is. Let's get some better pictures. Reset is here. Boot. Ah, yes, boot. Okay. And we have yellow on the NeoPixel. Get any. Oh. You have a search. So do we not have? You have two? Okay, well, do we try this web flasher? It does say app, double click and reset. App. Wait for the LED to turn purple. Tap again before the purple goes away. I did see purple. Try a few more times. Out. I do think I saw purple. So this got us to some kind of bootloader, but it's not UF2. There's definitely purple on the LED there. But I don't know. I feel like I get my second reset off during that and it doesn't matter. Yeah. I was just starting back up to the demo. Oh, interesting. Now this is red. Maybe does it just, maybe it stops on whatever color it's on. there a way to like verify the way to be sure that's actually this device? Unplug it, I guess. So I'm gonna go hold the boot button, plug it in. Button. And pixel off altogether. Yeah, I think it was just stopping on whatever color it was on. If I recall correctly, I think WebFlasher is a Chrome thing, right? It work outside of Chrome? Yeah. You do incognito window? I don't know. It doesn't like to let me make new windows directly. So it says bind bin. I gotta get that first. Oh, madness. Well, might be at a bit of a dead end here. I guess, like, presumably we could download the bin and load the bin through the web flasher. I think maybe that can work. I've never done that before, though, and I'm not actually 100% sure. Where does this go? This says tinyuf2 release download. Let's see, maybe we can find this. Maybe just the link's wrong or something. We just start back in the soft zone. Oops. Ago. Said what now? That said 0, 1, 3 is what I was trying to link to. We need 0, 1, 3, or should we get a newer one? Oh, there's 0, 1, 5. That says 1, 3 is from March. 4 is April. Say anything about this when it was added, maybe? Matrix Portal S. Retype by. We probably should get this one. I don't know what any of that stuff means, but we probably want this one. So is there a combined bin here? Okay, so then we go, what was this file? It was, let's get more of this. TinyUF2 Adafruit, it says Matrix Portal S3. Oh, but there's 177. I realized TinyUF2 had one for every device like that. Is that Adafruit Matrix Portal or TinyUF2, then Adafruit, then Matrix? Need to be back. Maybe we should PR the org. Okay, so this has combined bin. And go back to our instruction. Okay, plug the board in. Cable's good, plugged in. Yeah, we're not that. Hold down. So we should be in this mode already, I think. Upload combined bin to the web flasher. Select 460800. 60800. We connect first? I guess we have to because there's no upload. Is that a JTAG, I guess? I don't know. Didn't know that, but. And then if I recall right, it doesn't really matter which one of these you pick. Connect. Erase. Choose a file. Click any, choose a file. Find. Click program. Wait for the progress bar. Take a drink of coffee. How's it going, Keith? Popping in before I have to head out. Hope everyone's starting off well. Yep. Thanks. Hope you have a nice day. Pretty well here. And the new firmware, please reset your device. So now one thing I don't know, do we still have... Okay. I just rebooted once and we're straight to Matrix S3 boot. That. There we go. Cool. All right, we're up. Let me check on the org real fast. Is that part of the page for the device that makes it be, I don't know where to look. Or how that part gets rendered. Well, the left side only, much. Okay, I don't know where that bootloader message thing comes from. Would be a be a bit more of an expedition. Okay, we need to get the display. So we had the display working with the demo code, but that was... running from Arduino. Can I steal the code from the old one? Let me try. Right. Yeah, fireworks. I was doing some fireworks stuff. Could run that. That's cool. That. Should probably fail for lack of libraries, although maybe they're frozen in, I guess. Oh, I was using, speaking of Microlab, I was using Microlab for my fireworks. Forgot about that. That's why I had all that stuff over in the repo. Oh. M1 for some reason. A module matrix portal, so that's not frozen in. That is kind of interesting. Maybe that seems like it would be a decent candidate for being frozen in. Portal based frozen? Does Circup have any like Circuit doesn't know what's frozen in and not, does it? It will just happily install a second copy. I think might be a nice enhancement. Circuit install. I have no idea if this will actually work. Like the matrix, you have to set it up specifically sometimes. So if just the matrix I have is default one or what? Oh yeah, it looks like it's fine. Well, I don't know if it's fine. It's doing something. They're not very circular, and they definitely were. Those were circles in the original code, but yeah, we'll see. That's just, oh wow, okay, very bright. Let's go code fireworks with that right there. Oh, yeah, something is not quite right, I think. Just get like some basic, some like basic label action going. But if we have text, it's going to be easier to tell what's going on. Or if we were to draw, like, maybe let's draw diagonal line. So I saved off fireworks. I'm going to get rid of lab, rainbow. Get rid of circle. We don't want stuff. Group will keep, matrix will keep, get rid of this, although we're going to have to fix that. Group, get rid of this. Keep the palette, we're going to palettes anyway. Okay, I want a bitmap that's the full size of the screen. Right, so I'll go matrix display width. I don't know if that's even right, actually. Let's see what. Value count. Let's just do 3. Something's definitely messed up. Display. That does work, seemingly. Let's print f map.width. Right. Oh, goodness, that is so flashy. 64 by 32. So, yeah, check this out. Like, maybe it's because it was 90 degrees, but we're like very wonky. Let's save this how it is, and let's do set city, because it was in rotation 90. Maybe that messed it up. Now it should be back to rotation default, which is, I guess, 0, or I don't know what the default is, but it's landscape. And yeah, let's try this. It still looks messed up, right? See, blink is not one sort of thing. And text is kind of messed up, like expanded or something weird. Also this line, this kind of gap here. Okay, let's keep going though. Oh. Bitmap tools. Draw a line. Bitmap. X1, Y1, that's going to be 0, 0. That's going to be width -1, height -1. Value, just do 0, that'll be red. Did not put it in the group. Or make a tile grid for it, tile grid. What's that palette called? Just P. What? That is even more surprising. So, I don't know why the background's red. But the green is definitely offset by like a noticeable pattern, right? Like each one of these is just kind of in the wrong spot. This is supposed to be up here. This is supposed to be here. This is supposed to be here. It's supposed to be here. This one got wrapped around, I guess, because it's actually supposed to be down here. So now we start supposed to be down further and then up further. Down further again after it wraps. And then if all those were in the right spot, we would have our diagonal green line. But, well, maybe our red came because this should have that be. Is that, yeah, that's probably, so yeah, that's why it's red, actually. That's totally why it's red, because this would fill with whatever is the 0 index. Okay, there we go, yeah. So that's supposed to be a line, but it's white. What do we do about that? So we know for a fact that the hardware must be good and connected, solid. We cannot have a hardware problem because the Arduino demo was working fine. It was displaying text and shapes and nothing looked messed up. It is very odd that we would need different arguments. I don't even know what the arguments for that are. Debug. Maybe we should do debug. Width, height, 6432. That part is fine. Bit depth 2. Number of bits per colored channel. Yes, I don't know. Unit pins depends on color order string. So our color I think is fine because we drew a green line and we got green. We accidentally drew a red background. We got red. Width. Those are listed twice. serpentine. I don't have that. Tiles, row. We're not using panels though. Thought there was more. Thought there was gonna be like, I don't know. Let me try straight across. So 0, 0. What if we go with so straight horizontal does actually work fine. Vertical actually seems to work. As soon as you start doing diagonal, stuff gets pretty crazy on you. Is there any chance we're still stuck on the wrong rotation somehow? Like, not on the wrong rotation, but maybe somehow something is not fully refreshed. I think I did a reset button. Try a full power down. Oh, same thing. Are there any like seizure? Seeing that as well. Maybe there's a newer version of Protomatter that I need. I think I downloaded A2.0. Maybe we should have got something newer. Do we have to build it with the new Protomatter? Can we get double tap to go to... Nice. pasted a bin file. Or what happens if you do that? Like nothing, which I guess is good. That's looking better. So let's go 0, 0, and let's go back to our... Definitely still have the flashing going on. But yeah, we do get that. This diagonal line now, so... Okay, good to go there. So... The other thing that I kind of want to work on is... Actually, maybe two things. I happen to notice this one. I'd be willing to give a quick try to. Yeah, let's test this. This is a PR that is brand new, 4 hours, but I happen to see it go by in the Discord, and it's display.io and how it is, right? This is adding a property to be able to fetch the number of bits per pixel of the bitmap. So effectively, how many different colors you're allowed to use. Which the bitmap previously stored, but did not make available to you. This person has added the functionality to make it available. Wang, thanks for that. Let's go here, PHP paste. Remote repo set default. $81.91. Ports expressive export dot space. Why not? Seem good. Do this anymore, I guess. Submodules. Wait, what? Such port submodules. You do that inside of here? Like help output, which makes you think something didn't type through exactly how it thought it should, but Other stuff is happening. Okay. So I guess I probably will need to do install first. Three. With some more cloning. Unity. A game framework? Yeah. Oh, no. Unity test, probably for unit testing. That's not confusing. Person in the I wonder if there is a way, first of all, and if there is a way, whether or not we would want to suppress the top download button. Like, I would argue we should maybe make this go away, because that's how it is on some devices that are brand new. Because this one doesn't, it boots, but it doesn't actually work for its intended purpose, really, it seems like. At least not the default matrix, I guess. Maybe there's some that do. I don't know. And then we would just leave it with this for now. And then once there's a release that's new enough, that could come back. Looks like a failure, but what's a warning, I guess? Reattempt IDX. Okay, we got a build, that's nice. Bootloader mode. Yeah, definitely we did not have UF2 bootloader before, it seems like. Once we put combined on there, now I can double click it super easy. Like I'm used to, so just shipped without that. Maybe it wasn't, probably wasn't ready yet by the time it got flashed, I'm sure. Let's go copy that, build somewhere, media at boot, I think. Cool. 3 boot. Updated commits. Okay, we are running and it still does the same thing, which is good. We should be able to go with our bitmap, print bitmap.bits per value. the flashing during the file writes is pretty intense. But almost lean towards trying to like disable the serial console output altogether potentially. Okay, so we currently right now have 2 bits per value, which is because we have 3 possible colors, and it takes only 2 bits to store at least 3 unique colors. The thing is, you could actually store 4 unique colors with 2 bits. If we make this 4, we're still gonna have 2 bits per value. But if we make it 5, we're gonna need that 3rd bit. Oh, and it jumped all the way to 4, which is actually fascinating. I guess it's gonna probably always use powers of 2 then? Because 4 bits would get you all the way up to 16. Well, to 15. 0, so go to 16. I guess go bits. Is that right? Can you do that? Maybe, I guess we're not counting 0. Like 0 is not valid. I mean, I said 0 is not valid, but I didn't mean like hard crash. Whoops. Fault detected by hardware not valid. It's a tad extreme for what I had in mind. Weird. Does that hard crash other devices? I'm gonna copy the code. Oh, I have an idea. Maybe the new functionality hard crashed. Maybe this is legit, but it doesn't like this? Yeah. But this failed at line 15. Which means this shouldn't have executed. Okay. I don't know. It's not consistent, I guess. We failed for it the first time, but I don't know. Yeah, that's weird. Oh, back to it again. Your debug pins? Brownout crash. I don't have any external power. Just on USB only. And I think it is at full brightness. Maybe I should crank that down some. Actually, you can't do brightness, can you? Can you do brightness? I can. I could choose a darker color, I guess, is what I would have to do. That would make sense, though. Okay. Had that problem before. And plug straight to the PC, but still, it's oh, it looks like that might have not got saved. Oh, at the wrong place. 16 does stay to 4, 17 goes to 8, and honestly, I 8 the max. I don't there. And fire 16. I think maybe you could get to max int. Well, like 65,000 max int. Not bigger than that. I don't know how many bits that is. 32 bits maybe. Bit depth high to avoid saturated colors. So this already existed in shared module, must have, because we only have the change in shared bindings only. And how display bitmap get bits per value. This must have already been existing. Yeah, palette fader. You remember that? Darken the colors matrix portal. Particularly good on the matrix portal. Good for other stuff as well. This looks good to me. I don't know why that line is there. It looks like perfectly in line with this dotted line. Okay. Next thing on the agenda, actually before I started, I gotta run to the restroom. I'm gonna do that and then we'll get started. Back, ready to go. So what I would like to start on is finding the width of a group in display.io. Like we have main group, for instance, here. What's the width of main group? Well, for our example here, main group has only one thing inside of it, which is the tile grid. Tile grid is mapped to the bitmap. The tile grid itself does have a width and a height, but the width and height are actually in the units of tiles, not pixels. So if you wanted the width and height in pixels, you need to multiply width times tile width and height times tile height. So in our case, oh, we're back to safe mode. Yeah, I'm thinking that is probably very likely to just be the power thing there. Built-in brightness control. Yeah, that'd be pretty good. Color. Dimmer. So we got tile grid width in pixels because I have multiplied it as 64 and height is 32. And so in our case, we have a group which has only one thing inside of it, the tile grid. We know the tile grid is 32 by 64. We know the tile grid is at 0, 0. I didn't bother to print it out, but it is true nonetheless. Zero, 64 by 32. So in this case, our group could be considered to have a width and height of 64 by 32 because that's its only contained element, and that's the size of the contained element. If we had the tile grid, which we have now, and we had another thing that was 32 by 32, and we had it all the way over at x64, which would technically put it off the screen in our case, but that's fine. We'll go with it for now. Then the width of our group, which would then have two things in it, is now 32 pixels wider. It's now up to 96 because we have the 64 of our tile grid, and then we have the 32 of our other imaginary thing that is 32 by 32 and is offset x by 64 in order to put it, next to, to the right of our existing tile grid here. And in that case, then the width of the group could be thought of as 96, and the height would still be 32 because we haven't gone any taller than that. Let's say that extra thing was not 32 by 32. Let's say it was like 40 by 40, for instance. So 8 pixels bigger in both directions. In that case, now our total width would be, and so we're going to say we're still offset by 64. So our total width would be 104. And then our height would now actually be 40 because that new item is 40 tall, which makes it the furthest down, y coordinate effectively. So really what we're trying to find are the minimum x coordinate, the minimum y coordinate, the maximum x and the maximum y coordinates of children or things contained inside the group, and then the difference of those values, the maximum minus the minimum, would give us the width. and height. Which is a concept that does not exist yet for groups, and indeed cannot be perfect because there are some things that can go inside of groups that don't have height and width properties in the same way. Like, I mean, like circle, for instance, doesn't have a width and a height. It has a radius, and from the radius, you could calculate the width and height. But our code that's calculating the width of the group would need to account for that. It would need to account for the fact that our children are potentially different kinds of things, and not all of them just have height and width. And something like polygon, which I'm pretty sure there's a polygon, isn't there? Polygon is... But I mean, this polygon is inside of a bitmap, and the bitmap is a rectangle, which does have a width and a height, right? Polygon. Oh, okay. Well, polygon extends tile grid, and tile grid has a width and a height. I suppose we don't care. I mean, it could get awkward if your tile grid was bigger than your polygon. I'm fine with that for now, though. I assume it will choose a tile grid that is the smallest that it can be. Okay. You start with, I'm just gonna like kind of spitball this in Python code. Ultimately, I would love this to live inside the core on the group object as a width property and a height property, but I don't know if that's realistic or not. And I think writing the Python code is going to be a several times easier for myself. So I'm just going to go like group width. This is going to just accept the group, which like ultimately that would be self or something probably, right? So do we want to call it group though? Because yeah, I think that's fine because capital G group is the import one, group width, and we don't really need anything else. So we need to loop over all the things. We need to get some variables. Let's say min x 0, min y 0, max x 0, y 0. I know for element, I like to think of them as elements sometimes, or items, or views. In group, and we will say, I'm going to start by just checking the types, like how can you just do if type element equals, is it going to be tile grid like this? Let's just print it out actually. Print type. Let's call this on group width. Class, not a string. So if it's a tile grid, we want to find, so if it's a tile grid, we know that it's the tile grid's minimum x is gonna just be x. It's gonna be the tile grid's x position because that represents the top left corner. top left corner implies left side is the minimum x. So we want to check it against our current. So we're going to say if tile grid, if element.x is less than min x, then we change it. We say min x equals element.x. Probably this should be the same for y. And then we need the same things for max, but max is going to be trickier because we need to calculate the maximum x. Like what I'm thinking of as maximum x, which is the highest x value pixel that's occupied by the element. So in our case, that's going to be the x of the tile grid plus the width in pixels of the tile grid, which, as we saw before, we need to multiply out. So I'm actually going to make like element max x equals element.x plus the width of the element in pixels, which will be element.width times element.pixeltile width. Duplicate y, height, element max x, element max y. So now we go this. If that's greater than the max x, then we update max x. Be this. Y. Then I don't think I ever said really why I want this. The flashing is a bit much for me, truthfully. It's kind of getting to my eyes. You save the file, I gotta remember not to do that, I guess, or to look away. Okay, not actually anything else with this. So now we, at the very end of this, we should have our like total max x, like the biggest x of all of our elements. Well, all of our elements that were tile grids. In our case, we only have one, and we know it's tile grid. So when we do get to the end, we want to return. I don't know, why am I doing max y when this is actually group width, right? Maybe we should be getting rid of all the y stuff. Let's call this group size, I guess. We'll return both now that we have them both. But if I was thinking about it, I would have done only one and done a group. So like a tuple of the width and height. That's going to be max x minus min x, comma max y min. So that should be 64 by 32. Nice. Okay, then let's do our test of adding a thing over there. And we need a tile grid, and in order to have a tile grid, we need a bitmap. I don't really have anything else I'm going to draw in it, but we're just going to create another bitmap. Map 1. This one, I am going to stick with that example from before. I'm going to make it 40 by 40. So our new size should be 104 by 40. I just use the same palette. I'm not going to draw anything in it yet. So yeah, the reason I want this is for it ties into the matrix portal. Well, I should say one of the reasons I want this. There's actually a couple of them, but as it relates to the matrix portal, which is what the first portion of the stream was all about, it will help us do scrolling, in particular scrolling for multiple things. Like let's say you want to scroll some text and then a picture, you know, and then start over with some text and then the picture again, or maybe you have two pictures and two different sentences of text or whatever. Like right now, there's no super easy way to scroll what I'll call mixed content, text and pictures. But if we could measure the height and width of groups, then you could make a group that contains your label and contains your picture. And because you can constantly measure the height and width of that group, you can then manipulate its X and Y, mostly it's X in this case, position in order to give it a scrolling effect on the entire group itself, which I think would be neat. So I will go tg1.x is going to be 64. We'll leave y alone. That'll be default, which is 0. Stick that in main group. Nice. So for one thing, if we want this to work for... We kind of have a choice of how far we want to take it. Like, my intended use case is what I just laid out. Basically, some text with a picture either in front of it or behind it or whatever. And I want to be able to scroll it across the matrix. In order to cover just that use case, we could get away without making this recursive. And by that I mean we could get away without handling when our element is another group. Because in display.io, you're allowed to put one group inside of another group and another one inside of that, right? You could just keep nesting them. If we wanted this function to work for the general case, it would need to recursively search through any groups that it finds in its elements. Do we care, though, about that? I mean, honestly, I feel like we pretty well can get away with just not caring about the recursion and instead say that it works on groups that contain, like for my case of scrolling, it only does need to work on groups that contain, you know, directly visible elements, I'll call them. No additional groups, just tile grids and vector.io things. Do those get their own tile grid, or do you? Yeah, I had not actually thought about vector.io. That's another one where they're not going to have a width and a height. I mean, rect might, but circle won't. Polygon certainly won't. Yeah, you just append it directly there, so that's not going to be a tile grid. It's a location and an X and Y. Let's go draw a line inside bitmap 1 from 0 map 1 dot width. No, map 1 dot height on bottom left to top right is what I'm aiming for. So bitmap. Should have a blue diagonal from bottom left to top right in our square now, our 40 by 40. Of course, that's not visible because it's off the right edge, but critically it's there now. So I'm also going to make a scroll. I think it just hard crashed. Oh, well, yeah, no. So to scroll, let's say I'm just gonna, right now, we're assuming that we want to scroll to the left. Obviously, we could add some generalism to this later on, and it could scroll in different ways, but say I want to scroll to the left, I would take my group and I would subtract, let's say, 1 from its X. Let's also have a last move time. And let's have a move cooldown. How many seconds in between steps of the animation? Let's say 0.1 seconds. Last time we moved plus the cooldown, that's less than the current time. We know that we passed it, so we know that we need to move. So we go group.x is minus equals 1. Can you do that in Python? But then we also want to say if group.x is less than negative the width. So if it's less than, you just say negative. Oh, and it's just group X is less than negative the width of the group, then reset it to 0. Or should we reset it to the size of the display? Just hard code it. So if we call this, okay, we also need to update the last move time. So we moved right now. Okay, so if we just call this over and over, should move our whatever group we tell it. But we are, I think, hard crashed right now. Oh, interesting. I was expecting those to meet up. Why don't those meet up? Editor anymore. I think I did 32 instead of 40. Right? Because our box, the box is where I expect it. But the blue line, which is hard to see here, I know, sorry, but the blue line is in sum, and that sum looks like probably 8-ish, which is the difference between 32 and 40. So probably we have done wrong here. I don't know. I mean, that's X, and it's definitely 0. But we just saw that 0 is further to the left. it's 40 by 40 and we can't see the bottom 8 pixels because they're off the bottom of the screen. So it does meet up, we just can't see it. It meets up like down here. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. That fill. Take it out already? Yeah, that's what it is. They do meet up. It's there. At this point, we could go faster by that lower. We could also do this at, well, I guess cooldown and that. Should pass it to here. Should be able to go twice as fast with half as big of a number there. At this point, it'll be probably just as fast as it can go. Speed up a little bit there. Probably, that would probably be too fast for text. That'd probably be fine though, like this. Nice smooth motion. So being able to calculate the height and width of the group is important for knowing when to reset, right? Because we get, we go until the edge of this passes the edge of the display, and then we want to start back over on this side. In order to be able to do that, we need to know our total width. So that's where having a thing like this, which can calculate the size of the group, is going to be quite helpful. Stretch it out. I think I may call it quits for there. That's like, I was imagining doing a little bit more, but we're almost to noon, which is probably when I'm going to stop anyway. It took a bit longer to get CircuitPython up and running on the device. It's fine because it's brand new. Let's take a quick second and think about the parts of this that would be hard. So I don't know how to do this in C code. I don't know how to check the types. I don't know if that's possible. I'm sure it's possible, I guess. Everything else inside of here is pretty straightforward, I guess. I suppose I don't know how to do this necessarily either, but probably find something where it loops over the items in the group. I think I've seen that before. I guess there must be code also inside refresh that's doing this too, so maybe I could find out how to do that from there. The main things to do though would be like check for other types like the vector IO objects, and then handle the logic specific to them. Rect could actually use not quite the exact same because this would be different, but it'd be close enough. It'd be close, I should say. Circle and Polygon will need their own logic that's much different than this, though. And then if we want it to be recursive, then we'll need to handle group as well, and we could maybe like feed it back into this or something. Yeah. If tile grids are in a list. Yeah, I believe they are. I think inside refresh it does actually access them. It's like generating, I don't know exactly what it calls it, but generating the spots for each thing that it's going to draw. Okay. I think I'm going to call it for now. get some food in me for one thing, so I'm gonna go find a snack. I do hope that everyone has a good rest of your weekend and all of that. I should be back definitely next week for the deep dive, and next Saturday morning as well. May pop on at some point before then as well. You can always follow me over on Twitch if you want the notifications or anything like that for streams that I do kind of impromptu during the week. Otherwise, yeah, I will bid you farewell and just say thanks for watching and hope you have a nice day. Object type should be considered as well. Yeah.